Namaste and welcome to another weekend live stream. And in fact, I'm not on a bicycle this morning, obviously, because this doesn't look like a bicycle I'm sitting in, does it? It's Saturday, March the 16th. I'm with it, aren't I? And it's 6:30 a.m. and I've just come from the markets, just got some organic fruit and veg, which is getting dearer and dearer every week. I mean, my weekly shop for organic fruit and veg used to be like under 100, sorry. It used to be like $70, $80. Now it's up to, well, today was $137 on organic fruit and veg. So it's getting dear. So in relation to the awful news out of New Zealand last night or yesterday, I just wanted to do a brief live stream about that situation and how it relates to the world and life in general. I have friends in New Zealand. I have many friends from New Zealand as well. So it's an area that I've heard a lot about over the years from many different friends. Although I personally have not been there, but I would like to go there. But this is not really about New Zealand itself. This is more about the situation and the violent world that we live in. And I've titled this live stream, Understanding Our Violent World. And just looking at a view here at a less violent world at the moment, which is at Currumbin Alley, which is my favourite local beach, and watching the planes coming in, and there's one about to come over the top of the roof of the car, and yes, it's a very wet Saturday morning. So, understanding our violent world. At Christmas this year, I did a live stream which talked about this topic a bit. The live stream was that if you feel at peace on this planet, basically, if you feel at peace on this planet, there's something wrong with you. Can you hear that plane? I can hear it. And, you know, from the youngest age, as I briefly mentioned in a post I did last night, I have observed aggression amongst people and have observed and felt the effects of that aggression on a personal level, and the arguments and the violence that I've witnessed in different ways over the years. And I was at a very young age, I was very sensitive to it and very aware of it, and very much questioning why it has to be this way. Why do people have to conflict so much with each other? And this led me to, over a long period of time, over many, many decades, to question why life is like this on this planet. Why isn't our natural state on this planet a state of peace? Why is it that we so easily end up in conflict with each other and arguments? And some people are worse than others, of course. Some people, we can barely look at them without them, sort of going, are you looking at me? Sort of that sort of thing. And good morning, my love. Thank you for watching. I was thinking you would probably join in the live stream. I love it when I'm parked in car parks, by the way. These guys just walking past the back of the car, checking out the vegan frothers sticker. I love it when I see people checking out the vegan stickers from my vegan mobile, because I've got vegan on every angle of the car. So, back on topic. The reason, very basically, that we live, the reason why the world is the way it is because we have free will. And this is both a gift and a curse, to use a statement that I like to use. The reason we have free will is because free will is a product of love. A product is not the right word. It's a component of love. It's an end result of love. If you love someone, you set them free. So free will stems from that. You cannot hold on to or control someone that you love. The characteristic, that's what I'm looking for, the word I'm looking for, the characteristic of love is that in loving someone, you're giving them their freedom. If you're trying to control them and hold on to them and that, you're not coming from a state of love, you're coming from a state of fear. And this is the difference between religion and spirituality. Religion comes from a state of fear, and it works. It's a man-made control system, as I call it. It's a fear-based man-made control system. Spirituality is coming from a place within ourselves where we know that everything is the way it should be, even though it's very, very difficult to tolerate. So spirituality is connecting with a much deeper level where there is no need to control, where we can let go, and we can release others in that letting go. And that's where that love comes from. But the question then comes up, well, if we carry within us that component of love, why is it not reflected in the world? Why are we seeing so much aggression and violence? Why has it become worse? When you look around, you'll notice that it's become worse in day-to-day living, in all different forms of media. You'll notice that what is acceptable nowadays is way, way worse than what was acceptable even a decade or two ago. I'm constantly disappointed, surprised and disappointed at the level of violence that's considered acceptable in media today. So why does it naturally deteriorate to that level? I subscribed to Netflix last year, and there's not much on there that I can watch on Netflix. I mean, I just look at a lot of the stuff coming out, especially a lot of the new stuff, and it's really, really either incredibly aggressive or overly sexual or both. And I really look at it and I go, wow, this programming that's coming out of here that people are absorbing that is considered normal. And this is what happens. I'm diverging away from free will for a moment here. But we live in a society where what is considered normal, the boundaries are continually pushed. The question is why, and I'm going to answer that question in a minute. But the boundaries of what is considered normal are constantly pushed. And it's a bit like the analogy, which is not a good analogy to use because it's a cruel analogy, but it's a bit like the analogy of boiling a frog, that we are put in boiling water and it's heated. Well, we're not put in boiling water, sorry. We're put in cool water that seems pleasant, and it is slowly heated and slowly heated to the point where by the time it's boiling and we're dying, it's too late. We're already at that point where it's just gradually heated up, and to use the analogy, that the frog actually is boiled to death, but it's boiled to death very slowly. This is the world we're living in. We are very slowly being boiled to death. Gordon says we are at its worst because the light is shining bright. I think you're meant to say there, Gordon. Yes, there is actually a duality occurring in relation to that, Gordon, where we are seeing more of the darkness that has always existed, and we are seeing more of the light as well, because we have the technology to be able to do that. What happened yesterday in New Zealand, using technology in a way that was so awful. When I went to bed last night, I saw that there were 49 people had been killed. I think it was 41 in the first mosque and 7 in the second one, and 1 that had died in hospital. The technology, the live stream I'm doing, yes, we see it as worse because the light is shining bright. Thank you, Gordon. The technology that I'm using now to present this message to you is the same technology that the shooter used yesterday to live stream his massacre, which means the technology is neither good nor bad. It is neutral, but it can be used for good or bad in the same way that money can be used as a tool for good. It can be used selflessly, or it can be used selfishly. It's up to us what we do with that. And this comes back to free will. We have free will because it's a component of love. The universe loves us unconditionally. And the proof that the universe loves us unconditionally is that we are given free will when we come to this planet to do as we choose to do. That is a gift and a curse. It's a gift of love, but it brings with it an amazing responsibility, that with that gift of love that's bestowed upon us, that we have a responsibility to do the right thing with it. Sadly, for a lot of us, for the majority of people on the planet, are looking find love. We're all looking for love. We all want to love and be loved. The majority of us on the planet are looking in the wrong place, and we can see the proof of that in the society that we are in today, by the way that people are treating each other, by the violence that's inherent, and the racism and the sexism and all the other isms that are inherent in society today are a reflection of individuals that are so lost, that have no idea where to find love, where to find genuine love, where to find genuine happiness. No idea at all. That completely do not embrace, whatever the opposite of do not embrace is. They completely do not embrace any attempt at a spiritual understanding. And the price that is paid for that is the society we see today, where it's seen as cool to try and be individual and do your own thing. But the price that people pay for that, the price for turning away from genuine love, that's a better way of describing it. The price we pay for turning away from genuine spiritual love is the society we have today, where people are just following this thing up here that's telling them to do this and do that, and we are ending up with people that are completely lost, and that somehow in their completely deranged mind think it's okay to have guns, to have bombs, to have to put out mission statements saying crazy stuff, and then to go out and kill their brothers and sisters, their fellow human beings. Somewhere in their derangement, they think that is okay. Obviously, it's not okay. And it's a reflection of a person that is completely lost. And sadly, this person that did this, there are a lot of people with varying degrees of that lost. Thankfully, most people don't go to the extreme that this person went to yesterday, taking so many lives and live streaming it when he did it, which is insane. But sadly, because of our free will and because we can choose to turn away from love, the greatest majority of us do that, and the greatest majority of us follow paths that just, sadly, we end up so far down a path or a rabbit hole that is not of any help for us at all, that I really, really, really feel for the majority of people in the world that are just basically have no idea how to find happiness or where it is. The solution has been and always will be an inner connection with our heart, a spiritual connection. That has always been the solution. That is an eternal solution. It never changes. But many of us think that we can do it alone, that we have the answer. This comes from a misunderstanding in the mind and not connecting with the heart. And it's the challenge that always goes on between the mind and the heart, that we think we have the answer. It comes from the false ego, and we always think that, we know better. We don't know better than the universe. We never have, we never will. The universe has and will always know what is the best for us, way beyond what we could have ever known or will ever know. The wisest thing any of us can do is actually surrender to that understanding. And that understanding is a heartfelt understanding. It's a connection that comes from our heart. The wisest thing that I've ever seen anyone do is actually realize that we know shit. Basically, that we really don't know much at all, that we're fumbling in the dark, and and the wisest thing I've seen anyone do is go, well, really, everything I've tried to do for myself has been a waste of time, has resulted in chasing shadows. The wisest thing I can do now is actually admit that I know shit, and maybe I should get some advice from someone or something. If you want to refer to the universe as something, the universe is actually someone. The wisest thing I can do is seek advice from someone that actually created the universe, that is love, that knows everything that's going on. Aha! That would be intelligent, wouldn't it? What a wise thing to do. The problem is, I'm telling you this now, and 99.9% of us will go, no, I know better. No, I know better. That's the false ego, my friend. I've spoken about this, I think it was last weekend. That's the false ego, and that's how powerful the false ego is. Even when we're drowning, even when we're sinking, when we're going down badly, the false ego will still try and tell us. I like Gordon says, seek silence. Thank you, Gordon. I'd do that in this live stream, but I wouldn't be able to share the message. But we can all seek silence afterwards. Even when we're going downhill rapidly, the false ego will still tell us that what we're doing, that to follow it. The false ego will still basically say, no, follow me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. No, you don't. If we believed the false ego, we have what we have today. Funny about that. A violent society that says if it feels good, do it. Don't think about the consequences for your fellow humans, your fellow animals, for any living entity, including planet Earth. Don't think about the consequences. Just do it. To paraphrase, I think, one of the commercials for some product that we don't need. The proof of the fact that doing that is not working is that look at where we're heading, and look at what's happening in society. Look what's considered normal. As we've been boiling ourselves as frogs in boiling water, it's considered normal in some countries to have a huge amount of guns. It's considered normal to treat people in a way that was unacceptable 10 or 20 years ago. This is now considered normal. It's considered normal to, get irritated with someone in traffic and jump out of your car and punch them in the head or something. It's like, how is this normal? How does this bear any semblance of normality at all? There's nothing normal about life lived this way. There's nothing normal about a world in which we have nations ready to attack each other with nuclear devices and missiles and massive armies. And, there's nothing normal about in the US, which has the worst gun deaths in the world, that is considered okay to just go in and buy a gun and you can have, there's nothing normal. This is not normal. Let's get this through our heads. This is what we've become used to, but it's not effing normal. Kathleen says, I love listening to you speaking, young Harry. You have so much wisdom and come from a quiet, unconditional place. What you deliver is so true and real. This obviously comes from real experience. Hang on, see more. Real experience, of life. I feel that you really need to be public speaking and imparting your experiences to a wider audience. Well done, beautiful friend. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Kathleen. That was a really nice thing to say. Thank you. So let's have a look at the world and understand there is nothing normal. Let's reconnect with our heart, which has eternal wisdom. I think the saddest thing is that as I'm saying this now, and as I said a couple of minutes ago, people will be watching this now or later and just thinking, no, I don't want to do that. No, I know what's right. This is what's getting us wrong. We don't know what's right, but our heart does. And there is the magic of free will. There is the magic of universal love. We reconnect with the heart wisdom. How do we reconnect with the heart wisdom? This has been taught for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. If we would only seek that wisdom, that knowledge has been taught for a long time. We reconnect through meditation. We reconnect with universal love. We reconnect through a spiritual process that allows us to actually connect with that wisdom that will guide us in a way that will bring us away from the society that we now have, this disaster of a society where it's still considered normal by just about everyone in the population. It's still considered normal to kill and eat living entities, animals, for every meal. That's still considered normal. And that's the crazy society we live in. It's still considered normal to attack somebody but just because you don't like them, or because you have an issue with them because their skin color is different to you, or their sex is different to you, or some other reason. That's still considered normal in society. We disguise it, but it's still what we see every day on the news, if we're silly enough to watch the news every day. Ron says, each person in this world needs a bona fide teacher to guide them. Exactly. Someone that can remove the false ego. We need more of this live stream, Harry. Thank you. You'll notice, Ron, that we are so entrenched in our false ego that even when I share just little mild sort of memes about spirituality, some people get it when I share it on my page, but a lot of people then come from the false ego and they start arguing and they start coming up with speculation from the mind and they start, don't tell me what to do and all the rest. I'm not talking about speculation from your puny mind. Our puny mind knows shit. I'm talking about reconnecting with the heart. I'm talking about seeking a genuine spiritual path where you will feel the love and you will feel at peace and you will actually be able to be a better person. You will treat other people with a genuine love, not a conditional love, but an unconditional love. That's what I'm talking about. I know this live stream's gone on way too long now, so I'm gonna wind it up. What we saw yesterday in New Zealand was a shocking reflection and projection of the way a lot of people in our society are, and that was it taken to its extreme. We need to relearn to respect the free will that we are given, and we respect that only in a spiritual process. It's the only way that we can respect it. It's the only way that we will come back to a point of peace within ourselves. If you're interested in that, I follow a spiritual path, have done for 27 years now. I call Bhakti Yoga. It's basically been known for forever. And if you're in Australia, you can actually connect in with that spiritual path through the Australian School of Meditation and Yoga, who allow you to connect in with it by donation. So you can go along if you're in Brisbane. Let's see, classes in Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, Darwin. That's the major centres. Australian School of Meditation and Yoga have classes in all those different areas. You can learn personal meditation, you can do group meditation, you can do yoga, you can come along to kirtan. All of these are things that will help reconnect us with our heart. And it's actually, we're always connected with our heart. It's actually connecting our heart with our what's called the super soul. It's connecting the two together. So I'm going to wind this up. There's lots of people going surfing, which is good to see. Thank you. I hope you got something out of this message. And always feel free also to send me a personal message if you like, a private message. I'm happy to help out, because this is the only thing in life that matters. It is the only thing that will actually help us to help the animals and to help the planet and to help each other. This is the only thing. If we do not connect spiritually, nothing else matters. I also recommend watching some of the stuff by Dr. Will Tuttle, the World Peace Diet. He connects veganism and spirituality in a really nice package. So thank you everyone for watching. Remember to live vegan and save lives, and I will speak with you soon. Have a great day. Ahimsa.